maybe you should come inside, make you feel something that's nice. I'm not perfect, it's just life. You know how we go, always moving with the flow. Play for keeps, play some shows in the six with my rhymes. Ride high, touch the sky, if you're eager you can fly. Find some place you can thrive, picture perfect just in time. It's fine, I'm okay, dancing around the words you say. It don't matter either way, you know I'm here to stay. Wanna be with you tonight, you don't get on my nerves. I wanna be with you tonight, you don't wanna get hurt. Swear. Right, I'm a fight, see the name of flashing lights. When it's over, catch a vibe. It's alright cause I don't mind who, what, where, how. That's not just what I'm about. If you're looking what you found, get me closer to the take my heart cause it was freezing. What you say is what you do. Look outside and catch the feeling. Let me know because I'm gonna be with you. You don't have my love.
From the gritty streets and smoky clubs of Chicago comes a force that doesn't just play rock and roll. He lives it, breathes it, and slams it straight into your chest. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight on the Music Train, we're firing up the engine with the one and only Sean McKee and his explosive Sean McKee Band. Sean McKee was born in 1996 in the Chicago suburbs with grease under his nails and lightning in his fingers. A blues guitarist and singer-songwriter at heart, he cut his teeth on the raw electric blues of the 50s and 60s, but he never stayed in one lane. No, he took those roots, cranked them through the Allman Brothers' southern swagger, soaked them in soul and jazz, and then twisted them with a grungy, psychedelic edge that hits like a freight train barreling through the night. Fronting his high-energy crew, Sean doesn't just perform, he unleashes. On lead guitar and vocals, he pours out originals that cut deep. Tales of heartbreak that sting, rebellion that roars, lust for gold that glitters with danger, and the monsters that crawl out from under your skin when the lights go low. Tracks like the greasy side-soaked Tigerfish, the live wire fury of Monster, the raw ache of Broke, Tired and Lonely, and the burning drive of lusting for gold. These aren't just songs, they're confessions set to thunder. And he's not riding alone. Rounding out the fire are Drew Diastis laying down that second guitar attack, Chris Pecoraro holding it down on bass with grooves that move your bones, and Danny Lozano on drums, pounding out rhythms that feel like a heartbeat on overdrive. Together, the Chicago Quartet doesn't play music, they ignite it. Electrifying shows that pull from blues and jazz roots all the way to modern rock, leaving stages sweaty, crowds hoarse, and souls marked with fire tracks. Whether it's a sweaty club in the city or right here on the music train tonight, the Sean McKee Band brings that undeniable Chicago thunder. Expect howling vocals that shake the rafters, riffs that slice through the air like broken glass, and a stage presence so raw and alive you'll forget everything else. This is the kind of rock and roll that reminds you why you fell hard for live music in the first place. The kind that leaves you buzzing long after the last note fades. So turn it up loud, lean in close, and get ready to ride. Sean McKee, we're so glad that you're here live on the music train tonight. Thank you so much for bringing the heat, the soul, and the unstoppable Chicago fire. This isn't background noise. This is rock and roll, and its engine's revving, and its heart wide open. Let's make some noise. The train is rolling, and Sean McKee is in the house. Let's go.
How's it going?
You're here. What's up, man? Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, so we just met a few weeks ago and at Rock and Ravioli, and I was blown away. I had to bust out my camera and, of course, record your band. You've had the Sean McKee Band for how long now?
So we've been together about 6 years as a group.
All right, sweet. And where'd you guys meet?
We actually met during COVID because everything was shut down. And so there was only one venue that was doing really any music in the suburbs. I mean, there was maybe a few more, I shouldn't say that, but it was really one place, and they were having a blues jam. And so even though we all grew up not 20 minutes away from each other, we're all close in age, they all went to Buffalo Grove High School, and I went to Schaumburg High School. We never met. We've put it together a few times now that me and Drew have definitely been at the same place at the same time and just never actually engaged each other in the past in our come ups through music.
Yeah.
But we met during one of those blues jams, and I was in the process of getting a new band, and I asked Chris if he wanted to be the bass player, and he's like, "Well, you know, I come with these other guys," and
yeah.
That's the short version of that story and how that transition started. So,
well, that's pretty cool. You know, that sounds really cool. Meant to be. I mean, I was blown away. You have quite a energy on stage. Anyone that's seen you, had a lot of people there that traveled far to see you. I spoke with a few people that night. I had a chance to talk to you and your dad. I remember you have huge support from your parents. I mean, what was it? Do you remember the moment that music kind of found you and you were like, this is what I'm born to do and I'm doing it?
You know, it's a little bit of a loaded question because there's a time that I remember having an instrument and doing something with it. I had one of those little mini Stratocaster Squires. I was probably about 8 years old, I think. And by ear, I figured out how to play just the main riff of, Misty Mountain Hop by Led Zeppelin. I just was going. And that's all I was doing. And my dad was like, he called my grandpa. And I remember how fun it was for me because I had never seen my dad that electric about something that I had done. I was not exactly the best sports player or things like that. And so I remember that distinctly. And I would say, I guess that's the beginning of me really playing music. But the true, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It was always around. It was always in and out of my life. I definitely was playing. I know when I was in 6th grade, I had an electric guitar and I was playing songs like by AC/DC and stuff at school.
Nice.
But when I was 14, I was starting to show I wanted to do it more and more. And I have a longtime friend that was my dad's. His name is Anthony Gomes. And I was backstage the whole show, just standing off to the side of the stage watching him. And there was another guitar player who was, I think, 8 years old at the time. His name was Talon Latz, and he was up there playing too. He was like a special guest for the show. And Anthony called me up because I said I knew how to play. I knew how to play a lot of his songs. I had already started learning them.
Dude.
And so he actually, the one song that I showed him I could play, he called me up on, which was a song called Testify. It was at the end of the night, and Talon was up there with me. And the funniest part about it was the reason why it kicked me into the overdrive of I'm going to play, this is what I'm going to do, was, Anthony was playing, a Marshall half stack rocking out, a vintage 65 Strat, and that's what he let me play through on that spot. And then, there was probably about 100, 200 people out there. So the first time I ever stepped on a stage, I got thunderous applause, and it was to this day, I always say that's the most intoxicating drug I've ever done in my life is that type of moment. But what really happened is I found out I did not really know how to play that song. I knew how to play. I knew how to play all the chords. So I was sitting there.
I want you to play it now. Can you play it now for us?
I can play just the riff, but it was
right.
And it's that was the riff for the most part. But when I went to go play the solo that he gave me, I only knew how to play one solo on guitar, and it was the solo for Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix. And that song just happens to be in a different key than the song Testifies in.
Man.
So I played it, and it was wrong, and I was like flabbergasted. And huge kudos to Anthony because he literally figured out exactly what was happening.
I mean, you were only 13, right? You were just 13.
13, 14, something like that.
Incredible.
And kudos to him because he came over to me and, pretty much told me in my ear, take what you're doing and move it down to here and play the same thing that you're playing. Just move it here and it will work. I'll explain to you later. And I did, and it worked. But it was, it was slightly embarrassing, to eat it a little bit like that. And so I after that show, my uncle who lived in Rockford he was in a cover band called Snidely Whiplash, and Brian Hazelwood, that's my uncle, and he told me I could play gigs with him that summer, and so I continued that summer. I learned how to play songs like Stormy Monday by the Allman Brothers, China Grove. REO Speedwagon, stuff like that. And then I did that for that summer, and that just, I will tell this story because it's fun, but, the rock star life is the first gig I did with him, and again, I'm 14 when I did this first gig, and we played the Rockford Hill Climb, and we got home to his house in Rockford. I stayed the night. My dad was going to get me the next day, and we get home at like 1:00 in the morning. I've never really, not like I hadn't been up that late or been out late before, but I'd never been out without my dad or my mom and just been out till 1 in the morning, at some campground, where they're riding Harleys up, a hillside, and we're playing the Allman Brothers and whatnot. And I remember we stopped at McDonald's on the way home and we got a meal, and we pulled the van into the garage, and I went to go unload my stuff, and he goes, "Hold up, Bubba. Rock stars don't unload the night that they get home. We do that."
I like that. Let's go.
We do that in the morning. Granted, now as an adult, I don't follow that rule. I unload the car every night.
You don't want to do it in the morning.
No, you don't want to wait. But that was really my start into it, and so I was real young getting into it.
Such a beautiful story. I love it. I just want to shout out all the guests. We got a few people watching. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. All the fans that are tuning in on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you're tuning in from. Thank you so much. Music Train, we're in our 9th season. This is episode 4 with the amazing Sean McKee is here today. I'm going to just also run our sponsor ad. Thank you to all the sponsors. This is a passion show. This show has been going for a few years now. We love to talk to you about your stories in music, whether or not you're a musician. Music connects us all. Definitely get in touch. VessyMink.com for more information about how you could be a guest on Music Train. And just a little shout out to the sponsors here. Mr. BK Han, also out of Singapore, who produced this show in the beginning on Connect Club, Sean, which was this really cool app where you could go to video and meet people from all over the world. And the show got conceptualized on that app where BK said, okay, Vessy's niche is writing a song on the spot. How about a few words from the guests? And so that's what I did. I wrote songs on the spot with a couple words from the guests. So tonight I'm going to ask you if you'll give me a couple words so we can keep the tradition going. And we minted all those songs for season 1 on the blockchain. So they're all NFTs. They're digital artifacts. If you guys don't know what that is, definitely go find out because they're really cool. All right, let's check out the sponsor. And then we're going to also play a little bit of a live from Rockin' Ravioli in St. Charles, Illinois. You just did 3 shows in a row. On the 9th, you were at Austin Com Tavern in Steger, Illinois. You were just then at Rockin' Ravioli on Friday. And then last night, Saturday, you were at the Union Dark Tavern in Kenosha, Wisconsin. You're on fire. You guys, if you want to book Sean, you've got to go to his website. Go to SeanMcKee.com. You can find out everything you need to know about him. Fill out his mail list. Do it. Follow him. He's amazing. Just wait. You'll see. Real quick before we hit the Rockin' Ravioli live, I had a question about This Life EP. You just dropped an EP, right? How many songs are on that?
So In This Life was 2 years ago now. Yeah, we dropped that in 2024 when we were going down to Memphis to compete in the International Blues Challenge. So we did that all at the same time. The only reason I remember.
What was that like? That's incredible.
That was quite the experience. There is, I think, anyone who participates in it has good and bad stories.
Yeah.
It is weird to play music in a competition format, but it is not like traditional Battle of the Bands. It's a little bit more based in what you bring to the table as far as being blues specifically. And that was cool. And we won Chicago. We went to Memphis
dude.
internationally, and we came down to be semi-finalists. So we were real close. We lost when we did by only a few points. And the band that beat us was fantastic. CFG and the Family, and Mason Johnson out. I think they're from Ohio, but they did fantastic. It was one of those we lost, and I was disappointed, but I was like, man, they did a really good job. Though.
Yeah, you were like, yeah, I hear you. You were like,
but it was cool to meet so many people. We met this band from Bill Barber and the Holding Cell. We met them. They were all from Australia, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they were just wild to hang out with and have a few beers with. That was just incredible, meeting someone from all the way around the world to play music.
Lusting for Gold, people think it sounds a little like Tom Petty. What do you think about that? Are you a Tom Petty fan?
Here's my this is my auto email response to this question.
Okay, wait, strike it from the questions. Never mind.
No. I believe that there is a thing as blatant plagiarism, and there is obvious signs of things that you like. There's you listen to the Black Crowes, and you can find quotes all through their music of other stuff. There's
totally.
Little sections where we go, man, that's real familiar, but it is different, and we regurgitate what inspires us almost just naturally.
Yeah, it's organic. It's organic for sure.
It really is. And so I always say, if it sounds like it to you, it might be, because I can't tell you where it came from. That's what's beautiful about the muse. I can't actually tell you where a lot of these songs came from. Sometimes it was anguish. Sometimes it was just sitting around on a lunch break. I used to keep my guitar in my car when I worked a day job still. And so it's so dependent on so many things that it's hard to say, yes, it's from this. Am I a huge Tom Petty fan? I would say no. Not. It's not
Yeah.
something that drives
Who
me.
are
But
your? Oh, go ahead. I was
oh, I
going to
was just
ask.
saying, I can't say that it's something that directly inspired it, but you're bound to hear those similarities. And as long as it's not
Yeah.
blatantly the same, I think the best thing that we can do as artists in today's day and age is get rid of the idea that you're ever going to come up with an original thought. Let it go, accept it, be happy with the
Yeah.
fact that there is an alternative. You can
Mm.
be the best melting pot of your influences.
You're the original. I mean, you're an amalgamation of all your whole lineage. You know, I think it's quite fascinating what's happening with music and the whole AI battle. What's happening with music? I've been talking a
Yeah.
lot with Howling Music about the battle, the AI battle, and you know, I love great songs. I mean, I'm a songwriter. I've been writing songs for over 25 years. I've done a few records. I lived in LA for 10 years. I traveled to France. I did a residency there. I've had songs on, you know, sync to music, to Bud Light, Gilmore Girls, all sorts of things, feature films. I was never trying to get synced, but I feel like a great song is going to find its way to a commercial spot. Have any of your tracks ever landed a sync?
I have not. I've had some options
All right.
through some friendships that I have. I've never been scouted for anything, but one of
Yeah.
my current friends now, she works for a publishing company, and with the new record that we're working on in the works and
Yeah.
a whole catalog, we've been chatting about how we can progress
Sweet.
this because syncs really are one, they're a great way to make any type of money in this
Oh
business,
yeah.
but they also are great promotion at all. I mean, all it takes is someone taking 10 seconds of what they heard and going, man, that really caught my ear, and bam. And if it gets to a large audience, that's huge. And
Yeah.
sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Well,
And that's what it is.
there's an outfit in Nashville that I've been connected with. I have a song signed with them, and I'm working on some more music for them. But they're called Howling Music. You should check them out. Howling Music. Shout out to Howling Music and David Groh in Nashville, keeping it real. There's Shy Day is a sync house that has a new mission called Human Plague, which I just learned about this. They don't want anything made with AI. Absolutely nothing. Nothing made with AI, and that's pretty dope. And they
I don't blame them.
yeah, and they want artists and sync houses and agencies to kind of latch on and create a coalition and a mindset that they're going to, you know, the real deal is the real deal. I kind of dig AI as well, though, for demos and stuff, to kind of draw up demos and ideas that you know, my own thoughts and my own songs and all that. But anyway, let's check out a song from Rockin' Ravioli in St. Charles. You played there last month, and you play there again this month.
Yeah, we're usually there roughly once a month for the most part.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I got a chance to see you. I wouldn't have been able to see you. Shout out to Arcada Theater. Shout out to Ron Onesti and the gang there. They support music in a huge way. You guys check out oshows.com. They book over 500 shows a year. That's something like that. 500 shows. They've got 2 theaters, Des Plaines Theater and also the Arcada Theater. That's oshows.com. Ron was actually a guest for the season finale of Music Train season 8. So we're in season 9, and we're going to check out this song now. We'll talk about it in a second. Thanks again, Sean. Thanks to all the fans tuning in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Here we go. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. So is that one called Ain't That a Shame?
No, that one's called Color Outside the Lines. It is the first track off of our first EP, So Long, My Queen.
I dig it. So Long My Queen, huh? What a great title. Ooh, let's jump into that. What a great title. So Long My Queen. That sounds very loaded. That title.
Sure.
I, that's an intense title.
Or it could be benign, you never know.
Yeah, yeah, I know. The artist mind, the artist mind. I mean, it really does. So when an idea comes to you, Sean, so you stop everything and you work in the song. I mean, is that what happens? 'Cause that's what happens to me. I just got to do it. I got to lay it down. It's going to happen like right away.
No, I don't do the same. I trying to think how the best way to say this. I believe the Greg Allman thing is true. Sometimes you write a song in 10 minutes and it all just comes
Mm,
to you right then and there.
mm,
And sometimes it takes you 10 years. You've got this
mm.
idea floating around and so
Wow.
I don't follow everything to completion. So that record, So Long My Queen, every song on that record was 5 years old when we
Mm.
recorded it.
Wow.
I wrote those songs all in 2014 era,
Mm.
when I was 18, 19 years old, and we didn't record them until 2021 ish, 2022.
Where did you track them? Where did you track them?
We tracked those at I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Wayardson Studios. It's Alex Guerin though. He's the engineer that's on it.
Sweet.
You can find him on Instagram and
Al-
stuff.
Alex Garens, did he produce it? Did you, or the band produced it?
No, I produce everything myself.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Currently.
yeah, and so have you ever had anyone produce your music?
On the new record, we have a producer. Yeah, we have Pete Galanis. He's a
Okay,
Grammy-nominated engineer down at
nice.
Joy Studios, and he's had a good hand in helping that record really sound the best that it could sound.
At which studio? Sorry, at Joy Records, you said?
Joyride Studios
Joyride Studios in Chicago.
in Chicago. Yeah,
Shout out to Joyride Studios.
yeah.
So, your passion for vintage guitars and Harleys. I did a little bit of digging. I found out you really love vintage guitars and Harleys. You have your own Harley?
I do have my own Harley. Yes, I do.
Nice. What does it feel like? And how old were you when you got it? Oh my gosh, not everybody who I mean you seem to be very youthful. I don't know your age. Wait, I do.
Yeah,
1996, right?
you know my age.
You're the age, quintessential age. But the Harley, okay, so I've always wanted they're called hogs, right? Aren't they called hogs?
They can be. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily call mine that, but
Okay. I never knew why they call
I,
it that. But so
I
have you ever
call mine the bike. I always, and if I want to ride with my friends, I treat it, like a kid. You want to go ride bikes today?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Have you ever gone I love that. Have you ever gone cross country
I have
on it?
not yet. But this summer I'd like to go to the Black Hills in South Dakota. It's been on my list for a while, and I haven't wanted to go alone, but I don't have a whole lot of people that want to do long trips, and so I'm kind of just mustering up the cojones to do it by myself. And I'm not a very big guy, I'm only like 5'9" and 150, so it's like, being out there by yourself on the road with nothing but a backpack and the Harley is a little bit menacing. To say for
Yeah, you might want to bring a pistol, you know?
Yeah. Or make sure you have a cell phone that gets service everywhere,
Yes.
and that your bike won't break down. I mean, that was the scariest thought. Was it's not even
Yeah.
it's like you get on I-90 and you just go west, but you show up at a spot where it's like in Minnesota. There's I-90 is a 4-lane highway split up with nothing for just
Hmm.
miles.
Have you
And
have you been to California? Have you been to has the West called you ever? Have you?
I was actually in California for the very first time this last year, but not for music. I
Mm,
was there for my original bass player and longtime friend from high school, Kevin Marks. He was getting married, and
sweet.
he's actually on some of the older material that's not listed under Sean McKee Band, but he I went out there for him. So I went to LA first because it was cheaper to fly into LA, and then I rented a car and drove up to Santa Barbara. So I got to go along the coast,
Oh, it's
see all the
beautiful.
it was very beautiful.
I have a lot of friends in LA and Santa Barbara and all around there. Um,
Time. It was fun to experience because I had never been that far out west, and he was the reason that, like, I think like 6 months prior or so, I went to Vegas for the first time because that's where he was living at the time, and so I was out there for that, and so it was really cool because I never been west, and it's really hard as a musician, and I want to put this out there that when you're trying to get from the Midwest to the actual West, the Rockies are a huge hindrance because there's a lot of travel time where there is no gigs and you are burning fuel and days and lodging. And so it's very hard for musicians that are not already out west to go west unless they're doing a fly date, or it's very hard. And when you do it, it's rewarding, and I'm hopefully going to be doing that soon.
yeah. Well, you guys, thank you to one woman. One woman's tuned in. Got about let's see here. We're about half an hour, and you guys, we're here live with Sean McKee. He's a singer-songwriter, producer, electric guitar, vintage guitar lover, Harley-Davidson driving man. Have you been to Sturgis?
No.
Sturgis?
And I probably won't be. It's
No.
unless it's to play. I will. Anyone who wants to book the band to play at Sturgis,
Let's go.
I would love to do it.
Maybe I should try. Who's your agent? Do you have an agent?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, you're doing it all. Oh, it's a big job.
I do everything except for what the band members do, and of course now Pete in the studio. So
yeah,
we're slowly expanding the team. This year, my first member of my actual team that I brought into my life was an accountant and a tax guy, because running my own business proved to be a little bit more challenging.
Oh yeah.
It seems, not that I didn't think it was going to be challenging, but it's not worth making silly mistakes and doing things wrong. So that was my first one, and
congratulations. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
So
making the money.
Well, I'm looking for a manager. Here's the thing about a manager. The best managers are guys that believe in solely what you do, not someone that you're hiring.
Right.
If you're just hiring a manager, I want to say
their focus is they want to get paid. When somebody loves what you do, they'll go out. I mean, yeah.
I don't even think it's just that. It's just more that when it's their business, there's a higher chance of you getting taken for a ride by somebody. And when it's there's a great documentary that Joe Bonamassa put out on his channel, and it talks about I think it's called the one man against the whole industry or something like that. But it's a great video series because it talks about how he figured all this stuff out. But there's one key element that's really early on in the documentary, and it's that when he was 13, he played on TV in New York, and his manager to this day saw him on TV and said, that kid's going somewhere, and has been with him ever since, through all of the worst of worst times for Joe and the best of best times for Joe. And that's what I think helps make it successful, is when you have a true business partner that's willing to kind of go into the trenches with you. I don't want to speak too out of school because I don't know them super personally, but there's a band called the band Feel. And they're kind of like that. The story that I heard was that their manager really just took a liking to him and kind of dropped what he was doing in his life currently at that time to get involved. And I mean, they're doing fantastic right now.
They're called the Feels. The Feels.
The band Feel.
The band Feel. Yeah, managers that I've had two great managers. I lived in LA from 98 to 2007. And when I moved there, I had never been to LA. I had 5 boxes. I actually answered a Chicago Reader ad when I was 22. And they ended up using me on this project called Siren, this electronica drummer named Kenny Aronoff, who's world famous, plays with John Fogerty, was playing on pots and pans in their kitchen. Shout out to John and Missy Butcher for picking me up and really believing in me. It gave me the courage to go out into LA, to this is what I want to do. And I went, so I was there for 10 years and did quite a lot there. But Diane Labuda found me playing on the boardwalk. Shout out to Diane. And then Ralph Cavallero with Organic Music. And they, it really is. It's, if it touches your heart and you feel that you can, and you have a person that you feel like you can guide, also that you will allow them, because it's hard to manage people that, if I would imagine that it would be difficult to manage people who, it would be difficult to choose a manager rather that wasn't open to, the artist has to be the artist. You can't,
Oh yeah,
they let me, and I say let, they wanted to work with me, and I loved that, and I was myself, and I was able to, and they never were too, you know what I'm saying? I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, I know, I totally get it. And
yeah.
there's you like something to understand about my band is we're not a tribute band. Well, we
Mhm,
don't do tributes to like the Allman Brothers, but
mhm,
we like to play the Allman Brothers. And I
yeah.
wouldn't even call us a cover band because we can play a night
Mhm,
of covers. We have plenty of them, but we play mostly original music.
mhm.
So we play covers that we like to play, that we enjoy to play. But other than that, you kind of got it. My grandpa was in a band in the '70s, and that was their
Huh.
rule. If they got hired for a wedding, was we don't learn songs for your wedding.
Mhm.
If you like us and what you saw tonight is what you're gonna get.
I
You're gonna
love
get
that.
the same band that you saw tonight, and we're gonna play what our current set list is when we get there.
Okay, so you come from a long line of musicians. Your grandfather, you got, so your first memory, do we have that on chart? Have we ever
Of
just shared
my first memory ever, I don't even know what that.
ever? Yeah, yeah. Your
Oh God,
first,
not a
like,
clue.
I've got a memory as I don't even know, in a crib, just like in a big window and some fair going on. I don't know if that was like a dream, but I'm pretty sure it was a really early memory. So
I,
yeah, all right.
I couldn't tell you the oldest memories. I mean, I remember kindergarten and a little bit. I can actually tell you, maybe this is my earliest memory, but I can tell you where I was on 9/11 because I have a theory that the reason I only remember that is because
Mhm.
for me, it was a very benign day. There was nothing, I was in preschool, so I was so young. But when they scrambled the jets and the sonic booms were going off over the house, I remember my mom making a comment, and then every year for the rest of my life, all through school, was where were you? And so
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason I really remember it. But I would say maybe that's the earliest memory, just because it was prior to, I guess, formal school, and that's about as
Yeah.
far as I could go. I could tell you about a lot of music stuff, though. That stuff usually clicked with me a little bit more.
Yes, nostalgia for sure. I think it's so
Yeah.
important. And 9/11, man, I remember also where I was. All the people that are no longer here due to circumstances out of our control. Do political things, Sean, ever get you writing songs? Are you more of a songwriter that comes from? I mean, there's a lot of like different kinds of songs in your repertoire, but would you say that any of your songs are political?
No. There's not a single. You could try to put meaning to it, and if you can find that meaning in it, and it
Yeah.
means something, and it's a positive meaning to you, then have at it. I am in the
But you're
work.
not trying to, because I haven't heard anything that's like,
Nope. I
you
have
know,
zero.
um,
I have zero interest in using my music in that way,
yeah,
and I'll tell you why. Because I'm just a musician. I don't know what's going on in the world on a level that is worth regurgitating my opinion. It is
mhm,
not something that people need to hear on a broadcast level.
mhm,
And I'll probably stand by that for the remainder of my life. It's not what I was put on earth to do.
mhm.
Now, if there's something that really, really bugs me and something gets really bad, maybe then I guess I could, find it in to say something. But I try to be as uninvolved with that as possible because like I said, that's not what I'm a scholar in.
Mhm.
And I don't like that we all kind of pretend that we are and then we argue amongst each other. I don't want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it
My
sucks.
my message, if there is any political message in any of my songs, all the message is that we as a human race could be doing better about how we treat each other and get along
Yes.
and progress the human race. And that I just want people to start being happier. I mean,
Yeah.
if you really want, it's not political, but a lot of
Oh,
my
it's
songs are
I
about it's not political, but a lot of my songs are about like depression and things
Yeah,
like that. You know, I have
yeah.
issues I face that I will write about, but things like that, like I said, just not really an interest for me.
You're so beautiful, first of all. You're beautiful. Your heart is beautiful. Your songs are beautiful. Your stage presence is beautiful. You're a free soul. I've enjoyed having you on the music train. I enjoyed your show so much. I had to come up and talk to you and meet you. And I waited on your parents because I, but they love
Yeah,
you so much.
they like to come to that one because it's like 10
Yeah.
minutes from their house.
Yeah, that's cool. So I would love to have you play us, a few songs live if you're up for it, two or three, or one. We'd love to have that. I'd love to run another one of these, but to actually have you play live would be pretty cool. So would you like to?
Sure, sure,
Yeah,
I'll play a song.
sweet. All right, you guys. Definitely go to SeanMcKee.com, SeanMcKeeBand.com. There is a tour on its way. There are bookings on their way. He could end up in your town. It could be all because you say, I need to have this man and his band here. You also do solo
Sure.
shows. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Shout out to all the listeners on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. This is Music Train, Season 9, Episode 4. With Sean McKee's going to play a little set for us right here. And I'm going to do the echo cancellation thing because we had our little sound check in the beginning and we got some
Right.
things figured it out. Here we go.
All right, this is off of our second EP. This is the title track. It's called In This Life. Oh, I wonder if I need all I have. Or is it greedy? 'Cause that make me sad. I've been taking more than I've been giving in this life. It's been so easy to get what I want, because I buy happiness without a single thought. But what I can't find is someone to stand beside through this life. But now that I met you, it all seems so clear. Oh, I never lived my life, I only acted in fear. Oh, but you've changed my mind. You changed it about this life. Oh, I've seen the bigger picture. My, is it grand? Imagine a trip to the promised lands. Oh, that's what your life could be. Take it from me. Oh, we got to learn to let it go and set your mind free in this life. All right.
So good.
It's so weird. It's so weird. Not that I like require applause, but it's like funny. Hit it and stop, and then I'm like, who heard that?
I did. We did.
And, I'm so used to standing on stage and doing, the signature. How's everybody feeling tonight? I can't hear you. There it is.
Let's go.
So, but yeah, that song is a fun one for me because that was one of the first songs that Drew actually he wrote the music for that for the most part, and I wrote the lyrics and the melody, and the song is actually about my guitar and how I've always tried to buy happiness. I've always, wanted the next guitar, the next pedal, clothes, whatever, jewelry. I'm lived a very materialistic existence, I think, and up until the last couple years ago, and I've really been trying to undo it. And but that song was kind of the beginning of it. It was really life changing, realizing it was so dumb. I mean, I'm gonna open up and say it is so amazing how we ignore the beautiful things that we have to help us. And it was something so mad. I was mad, like, fuming. And I was sat down on the couch and I just sat there for 15 minutes, literally 15 minutes. Just doing that, just noodling. And in 15 minutes, I had calmed down completely. And how much of my life did I ignore that? You'd be upset and you would just go off into the world and be upset. And I had this, but always, there was always a guitar somewhere I could pick up and I would ignore it. And so that's what that song is about, is, just reminding myself to do that in this life, I've got this thing that takes care of me and is real relieving of stress, and to use it as the tool that it is. And maybe some good songs will come out of it, but to look to it as a medicine more often.
I love that. I love that so much. That was a beautiful song. All right. You guys, you're listening to Music Train. We are live here with Sean McKee. Go to SeanMcKeeBand.com. Sign up for his mailing list. Go to his show. See him live. You just gave me chills just with that little guitar solo. I was like, "Brr." So thank you for blessing us. Thank you for making time. You just did 3 nights in a row. I hope that you have a summer tour that just takes you all over the world, and you deserve that, man. You're really, really good. You are a good guy. You're a great musician, and I'm really happy to have you here. What are you going to play for us next? Are you going to play another one?
Yeah, I can play another one.
That would be great.
I will play the one that you showed the video of from the show. So the fun thing is, I actually wrote this song on mandolin because my grandpa gave me a mandolin that was in his house, and then I learned how to play it in an afternoon, and then I was like, oh, this is fun. I like this. I learned 3 chords just for Time slips away, the feelings seem to change. The things that you once loved, well, they just aren't the same. And oh, ain't that a shame? Out of your sight, out of your mind, but you are a fool who's blinded by the light. And oh, ain't that a shame? Is the key, but color outside the lines, it'll set you free. Tell them how you feel, it seems so surreal. You've done all the sad, but we stabbed you in the back. And oh, ain't that a shame? Whoa, ain't that a shame? Whoa, ain't that a shame? Yeah. Whoa, ain't that a shame?
am a fan. Everybody here watching you is a fan.
Oh, that one's called Color Outside the Lines.
So good. So good. When is the record coming out?
So we do not have a release date as of now. We're not far from being done. I mean, it's not
Right.
like we're totally stalled, but the industry today requires a lot of moving pieces. And with us putting everything we've got into this one, I mean, all of our other records, for the most part, were, I don't want to say they were cheap, but we did them in like home studios.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go to real studios. We did them at home. And so we're actually spending like real money to get a real product. And we don't want to just throw it out there to the wind and let it get eaten up in a week and then have nothing come out of it. So
I can't wait to hear it.
yeah, there's tons of moving pieces. We have music videos, the album artwork. We have so much stuff that we have like active projects in right now that to give a full release date would be a little bit. It would probably hurt us more than help us.
It's so exciting. Yeah, I get it. I get it. How long has the record been in the making?
Only about 6 months.
Oh yeah,
And it's not like we spend all the time there. We definitely did more sessions back few months ago and starting consecutive stuff. But we're not Joyride's only client either.
right. And you
So,
have, you've been doing shows and stuff. I mean, you guys
I've
have
been on and off the road with Brandon Santini. I play with other bands. Even my band members play with other bands too. So
good to know. Maybe you could play on one of my tracks.
yeah,
That'd be dope. All right. So we've come to the point where I've got to write that song on the spot. I need a couple words, or a word or a thought from you, Sean, and then I'm going to write this song on the spot. All you have to do is mute your mic after you give me the thought, or you could color. You could color a picture. You could.
All right, I got one for you. So this is actually a title of the record that we were gonna use. We're no longer using it, so feel free to do what you want with it.
Cool.
I love the color purple, and I was at a store with a friend of mine, and I saw these flowers that looked like dandelions, and she's like, "Oh, they're so pretty," and I was like, "They just look like purple dandelions to me," and so purple dandelions. That's the vibe.
All right, I'll do my best. Just mute your mic for me. Purple dandelions. I love dandelions. I was walking down your street, yeah, and I found you there. The sky opened up, down came the rain that washed me away. Suddenly, everywhere I thought was purple dandelions calling your name, taking me out of all my shame. Oh, out of my shame. Raise the end of my life like the thunder calls me. Open me up, take me down to the delta. 'Cause I see those purple dandelions calling my name. They're on the field rising again, rising rising again. They can't find a friend. Walk away, walk away, walk away, righteous. Walk away, righteous. Hold me in tight and walk away, righteous. Purple dandelion. Purple dandelion. How we do?
We did good. We did good. I like it. I was actually I was playing along. I was playing along.
I hope it wasn't too loud at any point.
No.
The microphone. You know, your music for sure, because of the songs you just played and stuff, definitely inspired me, and I had a feeling of like your music kind of in my heart as I was playing it. But all right, well, we did it. We wrote a song, Purple Dandelions. I love that. And what else is there to say? Thank you for being on the show.
Yep.
Is there something that you have? My last ask is there something that you have to say to the young generation or anybody who's like, I am a musician, I want to do music. How do they start? How do they get over themselves? What can you tell the people listening to be able to sing so free like you do, to be able to feel like they can write a song, that they're allowed to? I think a lot of people feel kind of incarcerated in this life. And we were talking about the healing that being a songwriter, what that allows us, the catharsis of it. What do you have to say to them, Sean, about like how to break free from the chains? You know?
Well, it's really tough because it depends what's stopping them. It could be insecurity. It could be someone telling them that they aren't good enough to do that. I don't know. There could be so many things, but I guess if you want to do it, you have to do it and not expect anything in return. If you're looking for money, actually, let me make an analogy. I say that being a musician is like being an old school mafia gangster. You can buy the clothes and you can talk and act the part, but if you don't live the part, that life will chew you up and spit you out very quickly. And music is the same way. If you want to do this, you need to live it. And I've been doing this since I was 14. I'm 30 years old now. That's, basically 16 years of playing gigs, not just playing the instrument. That's when I started playing shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say that I had myself all in until a year ago because I quit my day job. I had a 71 Corvette and I sold it so I could pay off as many bills as possible. I constantly have to wrestle with if I want to drive my tour van 20 minutes across town because it gets such bad gas mileage that I can't afford to just be cruising around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do make sacrifices. And I could make more and I could live this life even harder. But if this is what you want to do, you have to do that with the expectation that there's going to be hardship, sacrifice, and you might not get anything out of it. And if you truly love it, that's almost when it seems to work out.
Yeah.
Is when every comedian I've ever listened to has a come up story of living in their car and doing gigs to barely get enough money for food. And it's all the comedians that are in the arenas selling out stadiums, they all have this same come up story of, everyone told me not to do it and I did it anyways. And, and so me quitting my job and selling my car and stuff, those were all me going, I'm going to start living in my car if I have to, if this is where this is taking me, then let's go. Because I don't want to be doing something else. And, so you got to live it. You have to.
You got to live it. There it is, you guys. Gems from this amazing gem. Sean McKee is in the house, you guys. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you so much for being our guest. You were an amazing guest. I'd love to have you back. I'd love to support you in any way that I can with promotions. I will just be promoting you from now on because I'm a huge fan. You guys, that's a great thing about becoming a fan and supporting musicians who are independent artists who are making music like this amazing individual. What a beautiful heart, you guys. Go to SeanMcKeeBand.com. Definitely fill out the mailing list. Support him in any way you can. I don't know if you have like a GoFundMe or if you have anything like that on your website. You guys, if you're able to give and keep giving and support independent music. Thank you so much for tuning into the Music Train. Next week, we're going to have the amazing Peter DiStefano. Check him out. Let's go. Everybody, this Sunday, April 19th, the Music Train is pulling in with a serious guitar, firepower, legendary axeman Peter DiStefano joins us live. The guy who helped ignite Porno for Pyros with those hypnotic riffs on Pets and Tahitian Moon, who's toured the world with the Psychedelic Furs and who's still dropping pure fire after decades in the game. From the stages of Lollapalooza and Woodstock to the big screen scores, Peter brings the raw, soulful psychedelic edge you can only get from a true survivor and master of the strings. Don't miss it. Sunday, April 19th for episode 5 of the Music Train. Peter DiStefano is live with us. We're going to turn it up and ride the rails. All right, you guys. We'll see you next week, and I think we'll end with one of your songs from Rock and Ravioli, if that's cool. Is that cool? All right, We'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody. Over and out. Here we go.
See ya.
Thank you.
hovering